Woo! We are here.
Heyo.
Heyo. Episode 19 of the Business Not As Usual podcast with Vince and Mike. I'm Vince.
And I'm Mike.
He's Mike. What's going on, my man?
Vince is amped up today. Ready to go. No? Oh, I thought you were. You did the whole woo, woo.
It was
keep these gators down.
It was lightning in a bottle. It was just the mood struck me.
And you went with that.
And I went with it. Yeah.
Awesome.
What's going on?
So this week I've been thinking about where do we go from here? And we'll use the term digital transformation so everyone's on the same page, even though we both don't like the term, but it's the word that everybody uses, so let's go with it so we're all on the same page.
Sure.
So you and I have been home for like 100 days or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And the world, both small business, large, has changed, right? And people have had to change the way they do business.
Though it has continued to spin. The world did not collapse as a result. Amazing, right? Like, we didn't have to be in the office. The world continued.
Yes.
It did not fall apart.
So, yes, we weren't in the office. The buildings didn't fall down. They're still there, empty, with cobwebs, but we're busier than ever, I think. One meeting after another.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, there's a bunch of work that was done in a new way because it had to happen.
Right.
Out. So it had to happen.
Right.
You couldn't have the same artificial barriers that we had on March the 12th. Things had, we can't do that because, and there's privacy, but somehow we've done it over the last 100 days, and things have moved faster, and small businesses have had to pivot, and large businesses have had to pivot, and and anybody who was in the infamous digital transformation, they've had to do things differently. So now we're here at a point where we're starting to reopen. We're doing phases. Other people are doing bubbles. I don't know what they're doing, but we're in a phased approach to going back to normal. And so what happens from here? Do we continue with the momentum that we built during COVID, or do we go back to the warm embrace, Vince, of the office and the way things used to be in February? Because everyone seems to be romantic about that, because I'm hearing a lot of, now that we can get back to the office,
now the real work can start again.
I guess we can go back to being as crappy as we were on March the 12th. So,
right.
And you obviously know where I'm falling on this. I'm not romantic about the way things were in the old days of 100 days ago.
Yeah.
And I am fighting with every part of me to not do that, and for people to not go back and do that, and for teams to not go back and do that, and businesses not to do that. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, and this is a really interesting sort of timing, because I was just having a conversation about somebody that's in my virtual course around business drivers, and they were having a hard time sort of understanding what their organizational business drivers were, because they had these like very aspirational, we're going to be the best in our field, and we're going to very nice and fluffy, but actually meaningless. And so I used the COVID situation as a perfect springboard to, when that went down, what's the first thing your organization saved? What was the first thing they did to get out the building and back up and running?
Right.
That is what your organization values. Right?
Correct.
That's the thing that's the most important.
That's a good point. Now that I think back 100 days ago, conversations that were had were really around, and as much as everybody hates to say it, customer facing roles to make sure customers in whatever field, so insurance and government, though, the customers were still able to do business.
Right.
Those were, so when you think about the roles or the work that needed to be done, what was everybody like freaking out about? These
Right.
people need to be up and running because they're phase one of being up and running.
Right. So it's all the things that were in phase one, or however you did it.
However you roll. Yeah.
It was who was on the first escape pod. Like,
right.
What was the first thing saved? And
Correct.
so then we got into a further discussion on, well, do you go back in reverse order? And to me, and we've talked about this a bit offline. To me, if we go back to the way it was, we've screwed up. We have missed a huge opportunity to do things better, because like, and to me, the call for going back to the office is the extroverts trying to reassert their dominance in the organization, because they are typically the loudest voice. They command a presence, and they want to have people around them because it makes them feel important. And so, that's fine. But if we go back to that old way, we are going to lose the progress that we have made in the last 100 days, where we actually had a mandatory test case for can we work remotely. Like, the excuses are gone. You can't make that excuse credibly unless you did see a dramatic dip in performance.
Right.
Like that, to me, that's the only way you can say, no, we need to be in the office. And again, I'm speaking of, organizations and businesses and people that are not like, they have to be hands-on, like hairdresser, plumber.
Yeah,
like
we're not talking about.
We're not talking about
your
that.
optometrist, your dentist.
No,
they have to go back. They have to figure it out.
You
right?
have to.
Like,
right, and you will, and they will. They will figure that out.
They need to figure that out.
It is hard to be a chiropractor remotely. That is difficult. Now pinch your neck here and try not to paralyze yourself.
I need some massage therapy. I can't do that online.
No.
I know it's a shock to everyone.
Right.
But an online course, my arm only goes this far. So unless you can give me an online course of how to massage myself this way,
right,
that's a problem.
Right. So yeah. So like I'm talking about from a project perspective, from a transformation perspective, the people that are typically involved in that.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you need to rush back to the office. And in my view, like, even those days that you are in the office, to me, that's social time. So you should actually be trying to minimize that time, because those are the days where I'm going to meet people and have coffees or have lunches. I'm not doing, work, quote, work. I'm doing the social stuff.
Yeah. But in the going back, we've proven that you could do work from here. Now, there are some things like we talked about on the last podcast and a few podcasts ago about some things we still have to figure out.
Sure.
Hands-on workshops, some maybe you need to do in-class training. But even those, I cautioned people last week about, it may be harder online, but some of the techniques we use, like, co-creating, where you do some stuff, you pass it to the next person, you can't do that. So that technique now is out the window. You need to come up with another technique. I can't pass something to someone.
Physically, so but you can, you're just not physically.
Right.
But, like, you can.
Before March, we would scribble something because it was quick, pass the next person, they would make the design better, and then
I'm familiar with that. Yes.
So now you can't just go, when do you want to come back? Once a week? 2 times a week? Once a month? The question is, why do you want me back once a week? Why do you want me back once a month? If we're having some sort of big meeting that you want everyone in for a morning, great.
Cool. Yeah.
But if you want me in once a week on a program, what happened to the other 4 days? Like if I can do work for 4 days, I can do work for 5 days. Nothing that happens on that one day is going to help me. So thinking about even how you run the project, you need to think about what, it's not how many days should people be in, it's why do you need people in? Because it's still going to be a long time before we just get back to people just coming and going when they want. It's a hassle. It's going to be a hassle, and it's probably going to be more work to go into the office than just have people working. So there's that. The other part is the breaking down of artificial barriers. All the things why we couldn't do digital transformation 100 days ago, we've proven that you can. Not this big monolithic delivery, but small iterations along the way that we couldn't do, we proved we can. So in the fall, in September, when let's say we're all good, are we going to continue along that path? Or are we going to go, okay, now we have to go back to the large delivery? That's what I am worried about, even more than people having to go back into the office. Because for 100 days we've changed our mindset. I hope that the mindset doesn't change back. Because we've proven, it's a proven methodology that's been working across all industries right now.
Right. Well, and this is what I'm saying. If we go back to pre-March, right, and you had a little Freudian slip there where you said 100 years. It feels like at times it feels like 100 years. Like, it does feel, but like the truth is that was you will always remember BC before COVID.
Before COVID, yes.
And AD after disease. Like you will remember that period. And so if for us to go backwards, it feels asinine and almost just we're doing it because I haven't comfortable. I haven't yet heard a credible reason and rationale for why you need to go back outside of and I'm in full agreement. You got a big meeting where you want to bring everyone together and you want that fate. Cool. You want but other than that, there are very few use cases for why I would need to be in the office and why I can't do what I need to do remotely and then from anywhere in the world. Like I don't even have to be at home. Right. So what is the rationale other than it makes me feel warm and fuzzy and I'm romantic about the way things used to be? Guys, we are never going back. And the organizations that try to go back will face backlash. They will start to lose people. And I know we've talked about this. The brain drain on those organizations will be severe. Because why do I need to work in an office?
Right.
Why do I need to go in?
The amount of people inquiring about e-citizenship for Estonia is like through the roof right now. I'm on that list. So why does everybody think that? Like if everyone could go back to their physical location, then no one would care to be on that list. They're on the list because I can be in Toronto and work in Estonia. Right? So why would you think that if you're in Toronto, people want to go back to the Toronto office?
Right.
So
and I mean, hey, full disclosure, because we do we work together. I've been looking at all of those Italian, I'll call them a scheme because I mean I can't think
what?
But the Italian schemes
of
move here, come here, and we'll give you a house for €1.
Right.
Like
for a whole euro.
I'm serious. I'm seriously looking at these because Italy for €1? I could do that. But so, Estonian e-citizenship. I'm on that list and I'm doing the research. I think there's some residency type thing. But anyways,
It's not that easy, but yeah.
It's not like you just fill in a form and you're a citizen.
Everyone's gonna be Estonian all of a sudden.
Right. But I have been researching that because that to me is the way of the future. It's going to, you're not going to have to, go to a physical place. And we saw with the rise of companies like WeWork, or the remote working spaces, like you don't need to even be in the same city to meet with a client. I've done some research into that, and there's a couple organizations that have facilities all over the world. So once you become a member of that particular provider, you just sign out a desk wherever you happen to be. And for someone like me who does do a fair bit of traveling, well, not anymore, but it lets me meet with clients where they are, if I can't meet with them remotely, which I have been doing a lot more of in the last 100 years.
Right. The last 100 years.
No, that one I did intentionally.
So it's let's talk about Estonia. Like, everyone's not just running there just because. Right?
Yeah.
They have obviously the leaders in government as a platform.
Yes.
And obviously people are gravitating to that, which, for people that work in government in the US and in Canada, we should be looking at that. So the whole, while people are at home, Estonia there was no difference.
Mm-mm.
Unlike in Canada, the US, a lot of government services came to a halt because very traditional way of doing business. They didn't change. They didn't feel anything because they're already online. They already have the concept of government should be organized around the lives of people, not the other way around. And so their government platform that allows people to do all these things and then allows complete transparency and seeing who has looked in the government or in private industry at your digital identity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why everybody's going there.
Mm-hmm.
You are completely online. You don't have to, but you have complete transparency. Unlike in North America, where getting your health records is like a fight. They're yours, right? Being able to get government services when the doors aren't open became a major problem during COVID. And so these are the things that have people clamoring to become e-citizens of Estonia. And that's what I mean. What we don't want is everyone's thinking about these things now in government and how to be more e-government, more digital government. I hope that people don't go, whew, got over that. We can go back to the old ways.
Mm-hmm.
Because no one wants to go back to the old ways because they've seen a glimpse of what it could be.
Yeah.
To live in North America digitally.
And to me, I think Estonia is a perfect example. This episode brought to you by
Estonia,
the state of Estonia. But to me, it's a perfect the way that they're structuring and I like your use of government as a platform, because that's what it is. It is a part of people's lives, but it organizes around their lives. So even things like, and I read this in the past, and I believe it was Estonia, but I'm going to give them some credit anyway. They passed a law where it's illegal for the government to ask you a question they already know the answer to.
Is that true?
I believe that is true. I'm going to look this up. So it means that all of their government agencies must share information.
Yes.
Okay.
That is true.
Their income tax process is like 3 seconds. They mail you a thing that says, here's what we have on record of you earning last year.
Yeah.
Here are your taxes. Here is what you would be entitled to. Do you agree? Yes or no?
Yes.
Tick a box and send it back.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Because if you think about the process of reporting income tax in Canada, It is much more onerous than that.
It's ponderous, my friend. And I use software.
Me too.
And it's way better than like when we used to do it by paper, but it's still ponderous. It is. And what I don't understand is they already have all this information.
Right.
Why are you making me redo it? You have it. Here, download it. Wait, like, you have it. Now I got to transfer it to my software, but you have it.
Right. Well, so you know what I earned, because everything is tied to a social security number.
In Canada, yes.
In Canada,
digital identity.
Well, and in the US, it's a SIN number, and like everybody has a unique identifier.
Yeah.
Right. Even my business as a sole proprietor, my business number is tied to my social security, my
social insurance number.
My social insurance number. So even what I earned in my business.
Yes.
Right. And so like it's like a tick box.
So go ahead and apply whatever formulas and then tell me what I'm going to get or what I have to pay. Because I'm like doing their work.
Right. And so then it becomes, hey, did you earn anything you didn't tell us about or we didn't know about? Do you have any deductions?
It's just a service exception.
Right. Exactly. Because I am by no means unique, but there aren't, like, most people have income from a couple sources. Their income,
yep,
interest on their bank accounts, maybe some investments.
Yep,
that's it. Right? Like, not many people have a second business. So, right? Not a percentage, but it's like probably less than 10% of the country. So 90% fall into that, happy path of reporting. They have a single source of income, and it's easy.
Yes.
But yet we make them go through the same hoops.
Correct.
So if it's not Estonia, it's like Lithuania or Slovenia. It's one of those. It's one of those countries.
So they have Europe. You tell us once, and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
What they also have is they're not the only ones that have access to your digital identity. So you go buy a car, and the process here is you tell some person a bunch of stuff, they put it in a computer, and they go, yeah, I'm just waiting for your credit score to come back.
Yeah.
Where in Estonia, it's just like, no, they connect to their digital identity. They know what your thing is, and they're done.
Yeah. They latch onto the blockchain.
Right.
And it's it. That's it.
Not they're going somewhere else. And then, so now the government knows you already have a car. Yep. And your insurance company knows you have a car. Because now I don't have to call the insurance and go, hey, I just bought this. How much is it for insurance? They're like, I see you bought a car.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's probably freaking out. Oh, they have way too much. They're looking way too much at you. Anybody who looks at your digital identity that didn't have permission gets put in jail. Done. Like, the trail is there.
Right.
Vince, why were you looking at Mike's? You don't have an answer? That's it.
Right.
You have an answer. Well, dude bought a car. I work for Honda. Done. So that is what I mean about platform. And that's why everybody's clamoring to become an e-citizen. And if here in North America we want to get there, we need to break down these artificial barriers that we always had around why we couldn't do this work.
So I'm gonna be Donnie Downer for a second.
Okay, Downey.
Just for a second.
Go ahead.
And say, that sounds great, but I know what we're going to do. I know that most organizations are going to move backwards.
Yeah.
Let's have and so that's my downer part. Now I want to explore it. A lot of them will, man. A lot of them will.
I don't disagree.
So here's where
but what are we going to do with all the office space? Of course we got to fill it. It'll be for something stupid.
It probably. And to me it is stupid. I'm being sort of devil's advocate-y here. What are the things that we can expect to come out of, because now everyone's gotten a taste, so they're going to go back and They're going to go back into the office, but they're
I
going to
think
be
it
pissed
sucks.
off. They're going to be
I'm
angry.
gonna be pissed off.
They're going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
I was working fine at home. Why do I have to be here?
Mm-hmm. I had better quality of life. I
I-
lost 10 pounds, and I still I cranked out more work than I did before.
Yes.
So why do I need to be here?
Right. So what are some of the, like, for companies that are stupid enough to revert
Tell how you really feel, Vince.
to revert back
I don't even
to
know what to
the
say.
old days, what do you think they can expect in sort of the following, 3 years? And I'll start. And I already said it. You're going to start to see a significant brain drain for your talented staff who got a taste and will leave because why should I have to go into an office?
Oh, I don't disagree with that.
What else? What else do you think? What do you look into your crystal ball? What do you see coming?
For the people that do go back, and for whatever reason, it has to be that way, and I think you're going to see whatever I don't know what we call this, the COVID numbers were for output, or the work that was produced, or the availability of people that are virtually all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see, I think you're going to see productivity drop, because now we're going to add back the routine. 5 o'clock in the morning, get on train, bus, car, get to the office. I got to go get a coffee, and then I'm going to wait at the elevators. And now I'm bored, so I'll go get another coffee that takes another half hour, 45 minutes. And then, gotta go because I hate traffic, and I hate it more than I did before because I remember not sitting in traffic for 100 days. And I think you're going to see a production drop. Everybody's going to go, why are we dropping? Like, our numbers are off.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you why your numbers are off. Because the hour or 2 hours that people traveled are now being dedicated to working.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to drag their feet a bit, I think.
Yeah.
To get back to being able to, to get back to where they wanted of working remotely.
Right.
Because it was actually more efficient.
Right. And I will say it's not that they're dragging their feet. It's that the forced return will lead to disengagement.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like
I meant to say.
It's not. Yeah. No. I know. And
I think it'll be disengagement.
I'm gonna go slow because I'm angry.
I'm gonna be slothy.
No, I think it's just they're not gonna feel as motivated.
Yeah.
Because that quality of life has been. They will feel like it's been stripped away from them. Think back to there were some concepts introduced in the book Nudge, and out of behavioral economics. Like, once you've given something to somebody, you can't ask for it back, because it's better off. They are better off having never owned it.
Yes.
Right. So you can't give a benefit and then take it away. You can't give a benefit.
Well, because they're losing something.
They're losing something. Exactly. So even for those people to go back into the office 3 days a week, but you didn't get to work 2 days before,
right?
And but in the last 100 days, I worked from home 5 days a week. So you've actually reduced their benefit by 60%, right? So just thinking about it from that perspective, those organizations will suffer. I'm going to throw out another one, and it's a challenge to those organizations, because they're going to have to figure out how to engage their people and all personalities in a distributed by default format. So you're probably going to see new companies arise that specialize in employee engagement as a service.
Well, I just want to say, for anybody who thinks we're going back and into meeting rooms like we did in the old days where you were just a voice on a telecom, every meeting is going to be a video meeting now, because as everyone's distributed all over the place, it's not the people that are in the office or that's not the default. So even if you go to a meeting room, you're gonna have to crack open your laptop, because the next 15 people are all remote. So you're gonna have to figure that out. And so again, if you're in for a meeting and you got half the people on remote, then why do you need to be at the office? Because obviously those people so it's not the dynamic. Right now we're all at home and we're all doing
by force. Like, let's also acknowledge that this never would have happened.
So also we aren't working from home. We happen to have to be working. We're at home because of a pandemic.
Yes.
But this is also not
trying to work,
right? With you have everyone in the house. If you have kids, if you have a spouse, like everyone is at home, right? So there's going to be some version of, at some point, you may get the house to yourself for once. And so, at some point, kids might have to go to school once in a while. When? I don't know when, Vince. I can't help you with that. That's another podcast for another day.
Yeah.
What do we do about education?
Oh, geez.
But, going back, distributed teams, just like we had our friend Skydraw. That's going to be the norm. Programs having to run, projects, transformations needing to run with people being remote. We've had a taste, but we just have to get more scalable at that, because some people will be here, some people will be at the. I mean, being at the office is just being in another building. I'm in the office. I'm in the office, not at this building that people tell me to go to, but I'm in the office. So even the whole concept of, I'm working from home. Well, I'm working from work. I don't like it, so I'm going to go work from. I don't even get the concept anymore.
And maybe that's what
paradigm's leaving.
Yeah, and maybe that's what we need to start calling it.
Working from work.
It's working from work.
Right.
And this one is, and so even that connotation of I'm working from home, in the time pre-COVID, when you said I'm working from home, they're like, oh yeah, working from home, eh?
It was always like,
I felt guilty. Whereas I have to produce 2 days worth of work because I need to prove that I was actually working.
I actually started saying I'm working remote because
Me too.
always felt like working from home. And I'm like, I always have to be available. It was like battling banjos sometimes with emails. It was like ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. I would just and I'm like, wait, I don't respond this quick when I'm at work. What's the difference?
Exactly.
So I think that connotation
and remote, I could be at home. I could be at a coffee shop when those reopen. I could be in the beach in LA. I could be or in Santa Monica. I could be anywhere. Right? Who cares where I am?
Right.
It's, am I available? And am I still delivering? And that's the other piece. So that's going to have to change too. How we define deliverables will have to change. I think we have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity to be better and to actually evolve work.
Yeah.
And so we have
evolve work.
We can transform, to bring it really full circle. We can transform how work is done. And if we don't, I mean, first of all, I think many organizations will, and those will be the ones that rise, and the ones that don't will fall. They will fall, sure. And so they will. This will either be their demise, or will be a very painful, very expensive lesson for them.
I extend that to governments.
Oh,
if governments
absolutely.
Do not change and do not start modeling themselves like Estonia, Great Britain, you're gonna not so much.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
they're there. They're
there.
doing,
They're there. Yeah,
they're doing better than Canada and U.S. So
yes, they are.
That is what people are looking to coming out of COVID. That type of world, and it's time to deliver that type of world,
because that was the world, and work was lagging.
Right.
Work didn't change, right? But that is the world.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely government is not exempt from this, because they are going to need to really look deep at what is it that why do they exist, and then what do we need to do to fit into the lives of our citizenry,
right.
Not oh my god, how many transactions did I do today,
right?
Who cares? But how did you make things easier for the people that had to engage with you? So, government is definitely not exempt, because, government agencies are monopolies typically, but private sector is always there. So, there's always somebody, there's always a wolf lurking in the shadows.
Always is.
So I think that's a good place to close it off.
There is always a wolf, and it is a good place to close it off.
So with that, I'm
interested to hear on what people are thinking. And
always forget the people.
Please let us know what your company is doing, what your project is doing, and what are their plans, and what would you like to see as a pivot.
And what level of pissed offedness will you be at?
Yes,
if you have to go back into the office, because I got to be close to like a 90%.
I'm going to be like a 2-year-old where you took away my candy.
Yeah. So So with that, this has been the Business Not As Usual podcast with Vince and Mike. We will see you in the next one. Peace out.